Today is Inauguration Day in Wisconsin.
Walker promised a new and better Wisconsin.
My top priorities are simple: jobs, jobs, and more jobs. We will right-size state government by ensuring that government is providing only the essential services our citizens need and our taxpayers can afford.
We have a governor being inaugurated today. He does not care about workers. But here's the difference. We elect people, we can recall people.
We are broke in this state. We've been broke for years. People have ignored that for years, and it's about time somebody stood up and told the truth. We're making modest changes in terms of what we expect from all of our employees at the state level.
Worked 2 jobs.
Moss says he doesn't mind paying more for his health coverage or pension, but wants the chance to negotiate. The state has learned a lesson about negotiating benefits, according to Governor Walker.
We cannot guarantee that this budget will be balanced if we wait through the normal collective bargaining process.
Walker says his plan will also enable local governments to more easily offset cuts in state aid.
Inside the Capitol, hundreds of people are cheering and chanting to the sound of drum rolls. The decibel level got even louder when about 100 police officers marched right into the drum circle, carrying signs reading "Cops for Labor." Upstairs on the 2nd and 3rd floors, it's a pretty amazing sight. Amongst all the noise, a lot of people are sound asleep on the floor.
Marty, was there anybody there defending the bill?
State Senator Glenn Grothman was watching the activity from his window on the ground floor.
There are some people who understand it, and there are a given number of school teachers or college professors or prison guards who are going to get mad at me. And I don't like it, but the arithmetic demands nothing less.
No one knows where the 14 Democratic senators are, but one is quoted as saying they have left Wisconsin because the bill they're supposed to vote on is tearing the state apart. The Democrats' absence means the Republican majority cannot vote on the plan. They need one more member present. Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says he'll do what's needed to make sure the Senate does its job.
We right now have law enforcement that are out there looking for Democrat senators to try and have some of them come back to the chamber.
I don't think I've seen greater courage exhibited on the part of legislators since we were voting on the Civil Rights Bill back in the 65 session.
The Assembly has been in session since Tuesday morning.
That is correct. From the beginning, Democrats made it clear that they were not ready to vote on this legislation. So since then, they've introduced several amendments, and that's being modest. And I have to tell you, they're not done yet. But so far, Republicans have shut down all proposed changes.
It's the job of the minority.
We've gone through 60-plus hours of debate. This has been an extraordinarily difficult process. Democracy is not always easy, and sometimes it's not always pretty.
The reason there's people out in this Capitol lobby is because we are not treating everybody the way we would want to be treated.
Having been read 3 times, shall the bill be passed? All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. The clerk will open the roll. There are 51 ayes, 17 nays. The bill is passed.
What word can you use to describe what transpired from late yesterday into last evening in Madison?
Stunning, astonishing, stupefying, jaw-dropping, incredible, unbelievable.
The Koch family has a history of they don't like big government, they don't like regulation, they don't like unions.
What role have you learned they've played in Wisconsin politics in recent times?
In the elections last year, Koch Industries Political Action Committee gave $43,000 to Scott Walker. The Koch brothers put up money to launch Americans for Prosperity about 10 years ago. They have a website called Stand With Walker. They're running TV ads supporting Walker.
Folks, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker is using the new Republican majorities to heroically strip state employees of the right to negotiate. And of course, the Democrats were too cowardly to stand and fight.
Governor Walker and the Republicans just gave over $100 million in tax cuts to corporations, and now they're asking teachers and nurses to pay for it, and attacking workers' rights to negotiate for fair benefits.
This is Republican class warfare, an attack on the middle class. This is a battle we need to win.
The state of Wisconsin, in many ways, represents the country more broadly. So if an interest group can get their preferred policy in Wisconsin, they believe that that is going to help them on a national level.
Secretary Dennis Smith plans to cut Wisconsin's senior care program.
When you have the program growing 2 to 3 times faster than revenue, something has to change.
I have epilepsy. I come here to make sure my Depakote level is up to date because right now I'm kind of homeless, so this is the only place I can really go to as of right now.
How long have you not been working?
About a year now. I used to be a security guard, and they laid me off.
It's going to be a disaster if there's any further cutback in access to medical care. A disaster.
Mayor Barrett says Governor Walker's budget priorities show that he's out of touch with what the people of Wisconsin want.
He has literally taken $100 million out of the classrooms and put them into highways.
Barrett says at a time when Wisconsin students need to successfully compete against those from other countries, it's
Many workers are upset because police and firefighters are exempt from the cuts under Governor Scott Walker's new collective bargaining law.
I know the city has some financial problems, and I don't mind doing my share to help out. What I do mind is having you reach in my pocket, take away my wages and my benefits so that you can give them to other employees. Thank you.
Governor Walker says some Wisconsin school superintendents support his budget plan, but are reluctant to admit it.
You've got a superintendent here who said, yeah, I'll stand up and talk about this because we like what we see.
That superintendent is New Berlin's Paul Kreitzer. He says taking power away from teachers' unions and giving more to the administration will enable it to rebuild the community schools from the ground up.
There's no bureaucracy in our way.
Kreutzer does not foresee having to give pink slips to any New Berlin teachers that he labels outstanding.
Before the budget bill, she had planned on teaching for maybe 3 more years.
It could cost me more to teach next year than it cost me to leave now. I would lose so much in benefits.
Caves has taught for over 25 years. The other teachers who are retiring from the high school, 12 so far, are the most experienced teachers at Kettle Moraine High.
And I'm taking all that experience right out the door with me because they're not doing anything to retain me. And I don't know why they think that the best and brightest young people are going to be attracted to this profession.
New rules replaced the union contracts that had been negotiated for decades. Demonstrators showed up in Greenfield when its board revised the district's handbook for teachers.
Shame! Shame!
Board President Bruce Bailey says one change impacts training or in-service days for teachers.
So they're saying it's 3 days that they're going to have to work that they're not getting paid for. Well, they actually are getting paid for it. It's just that they didn't have to work it before.
Safety shoes, safety glasses, things like that we're obviously going to keep. A very good example of things we're considering getting rid of would be, should we pay for an employee to clean their clothes?
Hamblin says in the past he has had to reach deals with 20 unions. Now just 3 remain.
Committees have started circulating petitions against 8 Democrats and 8 Republicans. That's half the Senate. Democrats are targeted because they left the state to delay action on the governor's bill.
If you don't want to do the job, then move over and let someone else in there.
Republicans are pegged because they support the governor's proposal, which would curtail collective bargaining rights for public workers.
I think everybody, whether they're for or against what's going on, everybody is going to be directly affected by this because it's going to set a precedent.
Yesterday afternoon, volunteers gathered at Kletch Park to announce they've gathered enough.
I've never seen this level of enthusiasm and engagement.
For Democrats to take control, they'd need to wrestle away 3 seats from the GOP. Not an easy feat. If the Senate does flip, Democrats could block further Republican proposals.
Senator Alberta Darling was declared the victor with more than 54% of the vote.
We did what you wanted us to do. We got control of the spending.
Governor Walker is steadfast in defending his administration's actions.
Hi, I'm Scott Walker. Our reforms are working and they're providing positive results for the people of Wisconsin.
They waited until midnight to start circulating those recall petitions.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The groups chose today, the 15th, as the first day they can circulate papers, and that starts a clock ticking.
Recall volunteers are setting up tables in several yards a few doors down from the governor's house.
The way he came into office was dishonest. He's been very dangerous for the common good.
You've already picked the low-hanging fruit. They're still going to get at least another $300,000. As difficult as that may be, it is the easiest part. It's another thing to get the other 2.5 million people to come out and vote against Walker in a recall election.